is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dove. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
JJ Wang, championship games are gone. Week 18, this is basically, sorry, you got a Week 18 championship game. A couple people have been contacting me about those, or DFS away the week, or enjoy a couple games that, surprisingly, a bunch of them do have some value when it comes to the playoffs, seeding, and a couple of teams might get in or might get out.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that going around. But as far as fantasy goes, I mean, if this doesn't deter you from Week 18 playoff or Week 18 games, I mean, nothing will. I mean, you pretty much, no matter how good you do during the regular season, you pretty much got to base everything you do around Week 18, and that's hard to do when you have no idea what's going to happen in Week 18.
I mean, you generally want guys on crappy teams is what it comes down to, because you're going to be – I'll go through a list. I got a list of guys that will be missing for a while. But Week 18 could be wild because it could go from the Buffalo Bills getting the number 2 seed or missing the entire stinking playoffs. That is wild to think that it's that big of an outcome because, as we said, I mean, we stated all summer, the AFC is a bloodbath. Straight up, not how we expected it to totally pan out. I said the Ravens would be a Super Bowl, but we thought we honestly said, Chiefs Eagles where we were aiming, but
I was more or less the 49ers. I'm always on the 49er train. So, but yeah, I mean the AFC is not as good as we thought it was. I mean, of course, the AFC West is absolutely dreadful from top to bottom. That was supposed to be the best, but yeah, I mean it's not as good. It's more even than we thought. The NFC, it's not as far ahead of the NFC as it was before the season started.
Yeah, I mean, it took 3 minutes into the season to change the AFC East from being a competitive division to being 2 teams and then 2 really bad teams. So what we're going to do this month is really spend some time reflecting on the season that was. We got some special guests that will be coming to join us. We have the winner of the Fantasy Couriers Outrageous League joining us as well this month, and a couple of league winners from our league that we'll be sharing. And we'll just go through the season that was, guys who made us happy, and some guys that we are just so done with, we don't want to talk to them anymore. And this is going to be probably the last drop we hear of this before my wife and I maybe make a new one during the offseason.
One more.
Pleasure.
And pain.
Speaking of pain, this has nothing to do with football. It's more music. I don't listen to heavy metal at all. Not at all. But I did come across this band called Spirit Box. They got their lead singer is a woman. Her name's Courtney LaPlante. She has like the hardest voice I've ever seen. I didn't realize there were that many women in the industry that could do that kind of stuff. It's absolutely amazing.
Magdalene Rose. I've seen her in person. She's like a scream. Magdalene Rose. She's from a group called Gold, Frankincense, and Myrrh. She's a loud voicer as well.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought it was a dude. I didn't know it existed.
Oh, you can tell she's a girl because she sings and then she screams, but she has like a girl scream to her, not like you can still feel the back, but not the. But yeah, so it's. Before we get started though, pleasure and pain. Were you able to? I had a pretty miserable championship weekend, and everybody, sorry we're recording late. Life came on. We were gonna do Wednesday. We'll start recording on Sundays this week. How did you? I did win one championship, but I got obliterated in the rest of them. And CD Lamb, he's gonna be on all my teams next year because I'm so mad at him right now because he just kicked my butt. How did you pan out?
I mean, the two Super Bowls that I was in, I ended up winning. One really dominant team. I ended up winning like 10 in a row to finish out the season. So really dominant. Thankful for, like you said, that team consisted of the great wide receiver one, by the way, CD Lamb, by the way, hard to believe, and the great quarterback that is my new favorite player, Lamar Jackson.
But Dolphins say you're welcome.
Yeah, all right.
We're not. Dude, I had Christian McCaffrey. I had a team that literally, I think I had 300 more points before the next closest team. Christian McCaffrey, Travis Kelce, and who was the third? I don't know. I was within like 20 some odd points and just could not overcome anything. Like it was
It's
embarrassing.
frustrating.
It was very like, yeah, he can Taylor Swift. Anyway, let's get to some of the season-long pleasure and pain. Who you feeling this week, or who you not feeling?
What? So one of my favorite guys. I mean, I liked him in the before the season started. I mean, he was kind of up and down throughout the season, but overall it was up. And I want to say I was impressed. That's Jordan Love finishing out strong here. I mean, from where you drafted Jordan Love, probably or 15 to 20 somewhere, you expect him to be that kind of quarterback. And that's what I thought. I thought he'd be in that 15 to 20 range, which would have been totally acceptable. But instead, here we've got a top 10 quarterback that looks completely impressive with one of the youngest set of receivers in the league. We might talk about one of them later, so we won't go too far into that. But as far as Jordan Love goes, will Jordan Love be drafted like the 15th quarterback, or will he be drafted like the 8th quarterback going in the next season?
I'll totally be drafted the 15th quarterback, and he could still finish the 8th quarterback. I think it's going to take two. I think he still has that funk of everybody's like, man, you're a Utah quarterback, but
So are
should be
we?
drafted 10.
So are we talking like Kirk Cousins type? I
Yeah, that's our Mendoza line, isn't it? Kirk Cousins, yeah,
mean, drafted
yeah,
low and always finishing high, or
totally,
will he
totally could
eventually
become
be?
that.
Can he become that guy that's always drafted in the top 10?
I think if he does this next year, then he'll ink that way up. But it's always that 1 year does not because if you, I mean, quarterbacks are so good that even with this, you take one guy who's not injured. Give Patrick Mahomes is not going to be the 17th, 16th, whatever. He was low in quarterbacks for the year. I don't think he's going to be that next year. Andy Reid's not going to let that happen. They're going to Rasheed Rice will be in year 2. Patrick, he'll sneak back up in there. So there's guys that are going to move up. Kirk Cousins is going to be playing again next year. Where is he going to be? God only knows. But I think I think he wants to be a Viking. I don't know if he will be or not. But there's guys that'll sneak in there. We'll see what a rookie comes in. C.J. Stroud's up there. I mean, C.J. Stroud, I would draft before Jordan Love.
All right, speaking of bad, I'm going through a pain. We'll just rotate back and forth here. You can't get any more pain than Deshaun Watson. Just absolutely dreadful. To make it even worse, Joe Flacco comes in, throwing the ball 40 times a game. Deshaun Watson's throwing the ball like 24 times a game. And Joe Flacco's just super impressive. Deshaun Watson, are we just completely out? Or okay, if you can get him cheap, are you trying to like maybe put him stashing back? Sounds crazy to stash Deshaun Watson, but you can't like start Deshaun Watson, can you?
Yeah, I got him if you would like him. I got
Oh,
it. Yeah, no, he could be a great value next year, or somebody's good. Like, I don't think there's a middle ground for Deshaun Watson. Like, he's got to bounce back, or the Browns might have. Will the Browns do what the Broncos are ready to do? Will they just eat that? Their defense is so good. Joe Flacco won't be their quarterback, but they might look somewhere and go, hey, maybe somebody wants to come onto this championship caliber team. I mean, they're not going Super Bowl, I don't think, this year, but you know, do they eat that? I mean, they're going to eat a ton of money. It's
but
$50 million a year, but
eating Deshaun Watson's contract is a lot harsher than probably Russell Wilson's. But yeah, the same vein. But yeah,
Joe
it's
Flacco came
hard.
off a couch. It was better than Deshaun Watson.
Oh, I agree. I
I would
mean,
eat it.
I don't want no parts of it. It was absolutely dreadful. So, I want no
Jordan
parts.
Love or just Jordan
Oh,
Love,
I'm
right?
taking Jordan Love all day
Oh,
over
yeah.
Deshaun Watson. I mean, I don't even really think that's
What's
close.
Watson like? Quarterback 24, 25, just based on
Uh,
name going into the season?
yeah, he's wait. I mean, he's waiting. It's hard to start. You can't go in there and trust him. All right, another pain. This is like one of the surprise running backs of the year, and that's Kyron Williams. Of course, flipping into that Rams offense, we love McVay. We love everything about it. They are coming off some running backs that have been kind of iffy. So, I mean, that does go to show you that Kyron Williams is good to go along with the Rams offense. I mean, we're talking 1,100 yards rushing, 200 yards receiving, and 15 total touchdowns. That's pretty impressive. Talking top 5 running back.
And he
Being
missed
this
4 weeks, right? 3 weeks.
yeah, being this young in that offense, McVay already said he was coming back. Nothing's really going to change. Is he getting drafted like a top 5 running back?
Oh yeah. He's got to be. I don't see it like now. Will he? I hope so. I mean, I'm looking. I'm thinking like really, my redraft is our auction league. I'm willing to pay up for Kyron Williams next year because he's the total package. Because if not, I mean, you're looking at what CMC. It's already CMC is probably still one just because he's CMC for one more year. And then you're gonna look at where you're going.
Bijan, Brees Hall. I mean, Brees Hall. I mean, you taking Brees
Brees
Hall or
Hall.
Kyron Williams?
They're probably right together. Brees Hall with Aaron Rodgers healthy, and then probably what Devontae Adams, But so yeah, I mean those guys. I mean that those are guys in discussion. You could say, will Gibbs get a second year jump because he would have Jonathan Taylor. So I would put him top 4. He might even be, dare I say, RB2.
I mean, it's
Based
possible.
upon performance. I mean
That offense loves its workhorse running backs, and if he's available, he's going to get the full workload. So on the other end of that spectrum, we're looking at a former not top 5 running back, former number 1 running back, probably huge pain in the butt of everybody. That's Austin Eckler, just absolutely destroyed by it. People thought, I mean, most people thought there would be a decline, but not this. Even with Justin Herbert in there, he wasn't catching the ball. He was averaging 3.5 yards a carry. I mean, he only finished with 617 yards rushing and 398 receiving, and only the 6 touchdowns. Austin Eckler's always been that touchdown guy. So, I mean, he's going to be hard to be drafted next year, right? He's going to be real scary if he gets drafted at all.
He'll get drafted in like the 10th, 11th round. He'll be like, ooh, it's Austin Eckler still here. Heck yeah, I'll take a risk on that and then drop him for a tight end in week 2. Yeah, it's the Chargers have to draft a running back, I would assume. They don't seem to like Isaiah Spiller unless they're going to try to pull a rabbit out of a hat with him. He had that 1 week, what was he, like 2.9 per carry or something ridiculous like that?
Yes, bad.
It was bad. That we thought that you were a big Isaiah Spiller guy, and you got me on the train. And then
sorry.
But yeah, I think the end of the line for Eckler, unless he can find a good team where he is solely a scat back and it's a good Thunder and Lightning, he might have a small RB2, late RB2-ish resurgence if he could be strictly a scat back for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, maybe possibly. Like you say, he's never going to lose the ability to catch a ball. So I mean that's good news. Going over to receiver again. Shout out to the greatest receiver of all time, CeeDee Lamb.
Both of our guys. My guy sort of became a game manager towards the end. Your guy, he was your guy, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, I mean he was. He wasn't my guy. I think I veered off because I didn't want to go too high. Yeah, I ended up going Sam Howell. But the Sam Howell did finish as a top 15 QB.
In real life, he was scary.
Yeah, real life, absolutely definitely. But as far as receiver goes, I got 2 of them here. I thought both of them were pretty impressive. The first one is going to go with Kansas City Chiefs. That's Rashee Rice. He got 79 catches, 938 yards, 7 touchdowns. Kind of came on towards the end of the season. But in a season where Patrick Mahomes was just dreadful, and Travis Kelce was probably one of the biggest pains of the season, that had to be like one of the bigger disappointments of the fantasy year. So with Travis Kelce slipping, Rashee Rice filling in that number 1 receiver void in the Patrick Mahomes-led offense, I feel like you can trust Rashee Rice. I mean, he's going to garner a lot of attention going into the offseason, correct?
Yeah, I mentioned him earlier in the show. Like, I totally think Patrick Mahomes has got him there. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in somebody. I don't know. Right now, I haven't started looking at the free agents, who's going to be there, who's going to sign. But I figure they'll bring someone in because MVS is not anybody.
Terrible.
Nobody. I think next year we might be sneaking into thinking about, is Noah Gray roster worthy? Is he going to start to sneak into some of the Kelce catches if Kelce's going to play like this? Or are we going to find out Kelce had some lingering injury, or is the injury Taylor Swift? Who knows? But yeah, Rashee Rice, totally. Rashee Rice, Pacheco, and Mahomes are the 3 guys on that team I would like to have shares of.
Absolutely. Shout out to Pacheco. He's coming along. I mean, for being where you drafted him at, he's top 12 running back. Very, very impressive. But like I said, just don't know how long he lasts running the way he does. Another receiver, Jaden Reed, talked about Jordan Love earlier. Jaden Reed's kind of turned into that number one receiver in Green Bay. So is he the number one receiver? Are you going to draft Jaden Reed like Green Bay's number one receiver?
Oh, I think Green Bay has a lot of number two receivers that
Well,
could
yeah,
become
but
number one week to week. So if you're picking the guy from Green Bay you want the most, is it not still Christian Watson if he's healthy? I'm not a Watson guy. I think Reed and Watson, it's gonna be who you like. Like I would draft Reed higher than Watson. I think a lot of people would draft Watson higher than Reed. So
I don't know, man.
your league mates, man, I think Watson still he just got hurt towards the end.
I think the people in the know would pick Jaden Reed, but the people that kind of like less casually like watch football, they still might know Christian Watson a little more. So they might veer that way a little bit. But yeah, I think Jaden Reed's the real deal. And like I say, he had 8 touchdowns. Then he's another guy that came on towards the second half of the season, just absolutely murdering it.
Rushing.
So yes, yeah, can't wait to draft him on all my teams next year. Uh, so I got two receivers that I feel deep pain for. I mean, these were guys that I really liked, and they both literally suck really, really bad. Both their offenses were really, really bad. Both their quarterbacks ended up getting benched. The first was Jerry Judy. Evidently, he's not nearly as good as I thought he was, or not nearly as good as literally everybody that thought he was coming out of college. I don't really, oh yeah, I guess we were just everybody just missed on that one. But he just slipping hard. You don't even want him on your team. Does it change if he gets traded?
To the Chiefs, yeah, but I think he still got the stink. I don't know. Like I was, I was a Sutton guy who just scored touchdowns or he was terrible. But Judy, I don't know. Like he's built like a receiver. That was like that's why we thought he would be. I mean, a good receiver. He just never showed up or he was hurt. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
So
Yeah.
speaking of the stink, maybe it's not as bad on this guy. That's Jahan Dotson. A pretty dreadful season. I don't know how much of a stink there's on him going into next year. He only had the 4 touchdowns. Probably going to be a bigger touchdown guy. Of course, that offense wasn't great. So are we still like Dotson? Are we giving him another chance?
He's going into year three, so he's in receiver year three, so he gets that one more chance. I mean, Judy's year five, right? 4, 5.
Yeah, four, I think. Four, I think.
I mean, he's going to be going into year three. One great year, goodish year, not great, but he had a pretty good rookie season, and this year just pooped the bed. Judy never really came on, so I'd give Jahan Dotson. I mean, they're both going to be super cheap. Jahan Dotson's. I mean, we're talking probably late single digits, if not double digit rounds in drafts, or even waiver wire. Maybe I don't think waiver wire because a name for Judy. Dotson could in some leagues be a waiver wire pickup next year.
All right, all right. Quick honorable mention for a couple guys. Just give me your quick reaction. First off, I'll give it to him. Your guy, that's Baker. Thoughts on Baker, real quick.
Woohoo! Baker making some money this offseason. I was excited.
Yeah, I think he's really going to take care of that offense. I mean, like I was wrong. Looked better than I thought. I mean, looked closer to the number one pick than he has, I think, before in any point in his career. So, a real big pain this year, Ramondre Stevenson. He did get hurt at the end of the year, but even in the beginning, was not good. Hard to trust. Zeke coming in, taking a lot of work. Just not as impressive as we both thought. Are we staying away, or are we giving him another shot?
I think he gets a shot. Just monitor the offseason of the Patriots. Ramondre, a lot of his problem was that terrible Patriots offense. So when there's no threat of anything but one guy, and that one guy is not Christian McCaffrey, you are in trouble. Like he's not a number one, number two, number three running back. We're looking at we thought I would have figured, I think I'd 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there. I mean, but between 8 and 15 is not that big of a deal. So, but that's where he should be based upon what he's shown in the pros. He just had Mac Jones. The end.
Yeah, I agree. And one last stink. How bad is the stink on Drake London? Are you trying to get rid of him, or are you trying to acquire him on the cheap if possible?
Acquire him on the cheap. I think he's a hold if you have him. See what they do because I think they showed that Ritter's not who they want. There's going to be some free agent quarterbacks they might go after. Taylor Heineke's not the answer. Those two guys are not who they're going to have at quarterback. See who comes in. Maybe they get Russell Wilson. I don't know if that'll help him or not, but Drake London is so good. If you watch him play, he's a good receiver. He's Ramondre Stevenson himself. I mean,
Yep.
he'll be a guy you can get late. He'll rank in at probably a wide receiver 3, maybe flex.
All right. All right. All right. Last guy, one of my favorite guys. Sometimes I like him, sometimes I don't. That's DJ Moore. I think he's had. I don't want to say a breakout season because I mean this is probably his best
Fantasy breakout
season. He had 8 touchdowns. So I mean that's good. That's the most touchdowns he's ever had. Would you be selling DJ Moore now, thinking that he can't get any higher, or do you think with whether Justin Fields stays or the new quarterback coming in, you can get another year or so out of DJ Moore?
If Justin Fields is the quarterback, I'd keep DJ Moore. Because DJ Moore is a good NFL receiver. He's a terrible fantasy receiver. He was getting 1,200 yards. That's 80 yards a game or whatever, but no touchdowns, like 1 or 2 touchdowns. Now he's getting the touchdowns to go along with those yards. He's Fields' favorite receiver. So if the Bears keep Fields, you've got a locked and loaded wide receiver 14, 13, 12, with a potential to be a wide receiver 1 any week. I would keep him if you can sell him high. I mean, there's some guys that love DJ Moore. Sell him to the Bears fans. Sell him to people that want that high field, the Fields lovers. I would sell him if I had him. I don't have him anywhere. I already traded all my DJ Moore shares years ago. But I mean, I think next year he'll still be a good receiver if Fields is the quarterback for the Bears. If not, DJ Moore is going to be dead. He'll be Allen Robinson.
A little better than Allen Robinson.
I don't know. Allen Robinson had that really, really good 1 year or 2 years, and then he's been pooped the rest of the time. Think about DJ Moore.
But DJ Moore's had a lot. I mean, none of his years have really been bad.
But they haven't been good.
Yeah, but Allen Robinson had like 1 or 2, and then the rest of his
2 really good Jaguars years. One really good Rams year.
Yeah, maybe.
And then I don't know what happened this year. Yeah, I thought he'd be something this year. But yeah, so we are really quickly going to jump through a couple of hoops here for week 18. Couple of things to note. Really, this week is about keeping your eyes open. If you're in a championship game, good freaking luck. But a couple of things to note is notice teams that are in the playoffs. Here are guys, as of we recorded this Thursday, there's going to be more coming down, but inactive players for the week. Lamar Jackson, Odell Beckham for the Ravens. That means keep an eye on Tyler Huntley and Rashad Bateman. Blech. Oh, by the way, the Ravens have just signed Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is chasing a ring. That's all we know. The Browns, Joe Flacco is going to set, meaning Jeff Driscoll just signed off the street, will be the starting quarterback for the Browns. I am pretty sure, it hasn't been official yet, but I don't think Jerome Ford's going to play either. I wouldn't want to injure my running back. Will they play Hunt or will they just play someone way down the roster? I don't know. I mean, the Browns are just tossing in the towel this week. For the Kansas City Chiefs, the stellar Patrick Mahomes will not be playing, so the ever-popular Blaine Gabbert will be the starter. With Mahomes out, I'm going to assume we're not going to see Kelsey. Pacheco probably not. Might be a CEH Boulder game. See what you can get there with some of the lower guys. That's what I would do if I was them, especially with that. The Rams, this is an interesting one. Stafford, Kyron Williams, Kupp, and Higbee are out. Carson Wentz is starting quarterback. Ronnie Rivers, Royce Freeman, Tutu Atwell, Davis Allen, and Puka Nacua is going to play this week. But don't start him. Puka Nacua is playing so that he can get 29 yards to break a rookie record. Once he gets 30 yards, he's out of that game because Puka Nacua is too good and he is needed for the playoffs because this is a team, the way they are playing, they could make one of those New York Giants type wild card runs. I really do think so. They're playing really well on both sides of the ball. Keep an eye on them in the playoffs. 49ers are setting the former MVP candidate Brock Purdy and Lamar Jackson's runner-up, Christian McCaffrey. So they will be setting this week, meaning Sammy Darnold is starting, and then Eli Mitchell and Jordan Mason will get some toad. I would gamble more Jordan Mason because Eli Mitchell, you'd want to keep him just in case because he has looked good in relief that for Christian McCaffrey. So keep an eye on those guys as you're going into the season. So over these last couple minutes, we'll go through the games real quick. I'm going to give you a this or that from each game. I'll pick you 2 players. You tell me which guy you would rather have in a DFS or in a unfortunate Week 18 championship game. Are you ready?
Sure.
2 games on Saturday. Steelers at the Ravens is the early game. The Steelers and the Ravens I think the Steelers have to win to get in, so they're going to play everybody. The Ravens are probably going to set everybody under the sun. So, would you rather start Tyler Huntley or the Steelers quarterback?
Probably Mason. I'll go Mason Rudolph.
Are you really? Okay, we're going. The 8:15 game on Saturday is going to be the Texans at the Colts. Both teams are going to play all players because they are trying to see what happens for the postseason. And so we're going into this game with Nico Collins or Michael Pittman Jr. Which of those two guys who could be future tops?
I'll go Nico. I'll go Nico Collins.
Nico Collins, nice. CJ Stroud next year. Where does he fall in early drafts?
I mean, I think he'll take you in top 10.
Top 10? Ooh, how high would you see him? 6? 6 is a number that's in my head for some reason.
That's pretty close to where it would go. I mean, you never know. By the time that comes around, I might fall in love with him even more. Who knows?
I'll get him. Baker might be ahead. No. Okay, now the Sunday slate, everything is during the day. There's one night game. We're going to record between the day and the night games at some point on Sunday because I want to watch the night game so I can cry and watch my team get embarrassed again like they did last week. Thanks for not mentioning that, by the way. Okay, so we have the Buccaneers and the Panthers. The Panthers all of a sudden have 2 wins. Their owner might be throwing drinks at the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have looked better than they should. So, if you had
nobody on the Panthers.
Okay, there we go. Mike Evans, will he resign with the Bucs next year?
Sure. I mean, why not? I mean, you can't let him go anywhere else.
Mike Evans next year, top 10 receiver to get drafted?
I mean, it's hard to say no.
Okay, we're going with the Browns versus the Bengals. The Browns are throwing in the towel. They're willing to go 11-6 versus the Bengals, who are probably going to play everyone. But that Browns defense, I haven't heard of them who they're going to set or who they're not going to set. Joe Mixon or Kareem Hunt / whoever starts for the Browns?
I'll go Joe Mixon.
Okay, these are a couple of the miserable. Then you got the Vikings versus the Lions. The Vikings have an ever so slim chance of making the playoffs, meaning they're going to play everybody. The Lions are still looking. They can go between 2nd and 3rd seed, I believe, is what I was reading earlier today. So that we have some stud receivers in there. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown or Justin Jefferson. They're both going to be high plays, high costs on DFS. You can only play one of those 2 guys. Which one would you throw in?
I'll go Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, he's helped me out all season. Justin Jefferson hasn't.
Sounds good to me. I love the Sun God. You got the Jets versus the Patriots, a game of nothing. Guys who basically, this could be the game of the week because they all stink, but these guys that are playing in this game are trying to get themselves future contracts or play for next year. So you're looking at, Zach Wilson is setting. So it's going to be Trevor Siemian versus Bailey Zappi. I think Breece Hall, we can say, is really the only guy in this game we'd want to play, to be 100% honest.
Yeah, I don't want really anybody.
That'd be still tough because the Patriots defense is not terrible. It's not great. So Bailey Zappi or Trevor Siemian, who has a better week?
Siemian.
Did you puke a little bit thinking about that?
It's Chris.
Okay. How close of a game could Zeke have to Breece Hall?
I think it'd be pretty close. I'm not sure how much Breece Hall is really even going to play. I mean, it's going to be a bad game.
If I was the Jets, I would let Israel, I can't even say his name right now. I was thinking about that. The rookie.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I would let him play this week just to see what he's got as a backup for next year and not hurt Breece Hall. It'll hurt but you don't want to hurt his ego going into next year. But be like, hey, Breece, we want you healthy for next year when we're running it, trying to win the East. Okay, you got the Falcons and the Saints. I think all 3 of those teams, aren't they all 3, I think, in play for winning the worst division in football. So you're looking at Bijan Robinson versus Alvin Kamara. They both have stunk it up for a good while. Who has a better game?
I'll go Kamara.
Percentage chance Drake London has a decent game.
7.
Okay, that's higher than I thought. Okay, Jaguars versus the Titans. The rumor is Trevor Lawrence is going to try to go at it. Will the Bananarama man is probably, he's a big iffy right now. This could be Derrick Henry's last game for the Titans. I don't think there's really any big questions other than, would you play Calvin Ridley in a DFS game if Trevor Lawrence plays?
No.
Not even a chance. Okay.
No,
late games of that day. There's a whole bunch of them actually. Seahawks are
Oh,
they
great.
schedule all these games late so they can make sure that nobody's like not playing versus someone who's playing. Seahawks versus the Cardinals. The Cardinals are still playing hard. I just wrote out my article that I think James Conner is a top 3 running back this week as my bold prediction. James Conner or Kenneth Walker the third.
James Conner.
You know, he's averaged 21.1 points per game since
Yeah,
week 13. He's
it's been
been
good.
killing. I'll and it's curious. I wonder if he'll be a Cardinal next year. If they'll let him run it back one more time with a healthy collar. I think they should because the tread's not heavy and he's hurt. So get that back up. The Bears versus the Packers. I believe the Packers still have a chance to get in. The Bears are done, so they could do what the Lions did to the Packers last year. So 2 years in a row, the Packers could get spoiled by a division opponent. Justin Fields or Jordan Love.
I'm going with Jordan Love. I mean, he's had a better year overall. I mean, he's been playing really well last 4 or 5 games. So Jordan Love.
Okay, go for it. Let's go with the Chiefs versus the Chargers. Nobody is playing for the Chiefs, and really nobody's playing for the Chargers. Name one player from this game you would even consider putting in a DFS lineup.
None of them.
It's like it's not even like Easton Stick if you want to save a ton of money, right? I don't even
No, because he's not going to help you out. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money you save if he's not going to help you out.
it might be like $4,000 and he gets you 12 points, then you put in like all the studs. I don't know.
I mean,
That's why I'm terrible at daily fantasy, by the way. Broncos versus the Raiders. We got that stud Stidham versus that stud O'Connell. Who has a better day?
I'd probably say Stidham.
Okay, I think can the Broncos still make? I think they're one of those teams that can still make the playoffs. I believe. I might be wrong.
I'm not sure.
Who's Russell Wilson play for next year?
Oh, that's a tough question. I mean, I don't know who would want to deal with him. I mean, I think there's going to have to be a lot of movement going on.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard.
Minnesota. Okay, Eagles versus the Giants. The Eagles and Cowboys both have a late game, and I believe the Eagles have to win, the Cowboys have to win. If they both win, the Cowboys get the higher seed. If the Eagles win, they go higher. Eagles versus the Giants. Oof, there's nothing there. Saquon or Swift?
Saquon.
Okay, that's a good be. They should obliterate them. The Rams versus the Niners, a game of nobody playing. Sam Darnold or Carson Wentz?
Sam Darnold.
You couldn't even say Wentz if I said Carson Wentz versus Adam. Could you?
I would pick nobody.
Okay. Does Puka's going to set the record in the first quarter? They're just going to throw it to him like 7 times and let him set?
It would be wise.
That's what I would do. I'm going to talk about him all season. He's going to be. I got to figure out how high I want to put him next year. Okay, the Cowboys versus your Commanders. Commanders are trying to get the Cowboys to be a wild card team. It's an ever rivalry of the years, even as they have stunk. Both teams usually play each other fairly well. Any chance the Cowboys lose this game, or do they just roll the Commanders just like the Eagles are going to roll the Giants?
Well, I mean, there's definitely a chance. I mean, I've seen some crazier games in the Cowboy Commander Redskins series that should go one way or go the other. So, I mean, I wouldn't put it past the Cowboys blowing this one and Commanders win. It's possible. That was 50-50. That was like a 50-50 shot.
Okay. Better chance of okay. Anyway, moving on to the night game, we'll record between those late games, the night game probably. The Bills versus the Dolphins. The Dolphins are going to fire up Tyreek Hill for this game, hoping that he can burn the Bills and take them down. That was a really bad joke for Tyreek's house burning down because the kid was playing with fire. Word to parents, don't let your kids play with lighters. In this game, what's more likely? That this is a close game, that the Dolphins win by like 3, or the Bills win it 56-12?
I don't think it's 56-12. I think it's more of like a 13-point victory.
The last game was bad. You're calling a Bills win, right?
Yeah, I'd say Bills win.
I just can't see the problem the Dolphins are hitting is a lot of injuries. If Waddle plays, it's a different game for me.
But I mean, it's not like the Bills are playing great. The Bills are winning, but they're not playing great football. So I mean, it's a toss up.
I mean, in my dream world, Tua balls out. I mean, we know that Josh Allen's going to ball out. You know, who has a better day? Let's say Waddle plays. Right now, he's trending towards that way. Waddle or Diggs, who's went invisible?
So they both suck. I'll go Diggs.
You got to go Diggs, don't you? Because they're going to try to. If
I
Tyreek
mean,
gets
you don't.
200 yards, what's 270 yards for Tyreek, and he sets the record, the 2,000-yard mark. So those are the games for Week 18. We'll throw in playoffs a little bit if anybody does fantasy playoffs. I think I'm going to skip doing that more than DFS. So, DJ Wang, give us some wisdom as we go enjoy games that matter for the playoffs, but not really for fantasy.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my sister. She won her first championship on one of the weirdest teams that probably never should have won a championship. But somehow that's if you never give, that's why you play. If you never give up, sometimes you just get lucky. Just set your lineup, even though your team is absolutely. It was. She had Lamar and Tyreek Hill, and somehow managed the title. It's crazy, but yeah, shout out to her. I mean, congratulations. We all enjoy a good fantasy championship. So as always, trust yourself and trust the process.